Thanks for joining us on launch day and being so excited with us. We thought it would be, we did one of these AMAs shortly after the testnet launch, so we thought it'd be a good time to do one about our mainnet launch. So happy to have you here, and we're really excited. So if you have any questions, just raise your hand or ask to be speaker, and Mateen will kind of promote you up to be a speaker, and you can ask your question. And then me and Matt are both here to answer anybody's questions. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I guess I had two questions, and I'll start with the one that's probably more obvious and on more people's minds. So if I have a pair that I've provided liquidity for that I should be able to earn some Sunday for through yield farming, what does that look like? When are you guys going to enable that, and what should I expect?
Yeah, great question. So we have the yield farming all built, and we've tested it. I was just testing it on mainnet an hour or two ago, and it seems to be working well. We didn't want to change things last minute by trying to get it deployed for kind of general consumption, but you can expect to see that go live, relatively soon, probably a day or two as we kind of confirm that everything's working as intended.
Awesome. That's really appreciated. And then I had, like I said, one other question, and I hate to stir up any controversy, so I don't mean to do that if that is the case. I know there's the transaction that was going around with the individual that um, front ran the DEX, specifically your guys' token, and I was kind of curious as to specifically not how it happened or why it happened, because I understand with permissionless systems these things are bound to happen, and I totally get that. I think you did a great job on the launch. But what I guess what I'm asking is, with regards to the Discord, I noticed that the individual's message was deleted. Did the individual delete that? Did you guys as moderators delete that? And if so, why?
Yeah, so great question, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions about that transaction. I just want to first clear up some things about that transaction. So somebody placed an order before the DEX went live, but the order didn't execute until the DEX went live. So this functionally is equivalent to somebody being fast on the draw and being the first to click the button. Obviously, it gave them a slight advantage because they were able to kind of place it at their leisure. But this is kind of what you get part and parcel for building permissionless distributed systems. We did what we could to prevent it, but somebody got in there and listed their order, and it certainly wasn't anybody, as far as I know, anybody within the SundaeSwap team or who had access to kind of privileged information. And if it ever comes out that it does, then kind of sufficient steps will be taken. Let's just say that. In regards to, yeah, Matt, you have more to say?
Yeah, just to add a little clarity to that. So whoever did the transaction didn't go through the web interface. They probably looked on the testnet and were able to understand the SundaeSwap protocol well enough that they were able to construct their own transaction. And for something like a blockchain, that's bound to happen because, as Pi said, it is permissionless.
Right. So I understand that completely, and I definitely was kind of hypothesizing that that was likely what happened since you guys did have the test net up for quite a while before launch, and I think that you guys did a great
Yeah.
job on the launch of your guys' mainnet release, and again, I think things went really smooth. Using CC Vault until their back end failed. I don't know what's up with that fish. That JPG you should mute, please. But with regards to, I mean, using my CLI and Cardano node, I really appreciated that in your console log you included the signed transaction serialized. Like, that was really appreciated. But again, my big question was regarding the Discord handling, because
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
I was going to answer that part. I just wanted to make sure, for those who didn't have the context you did, I provided that clarity because it can be a very kind of scary thing to hear about. In terms of the kind of message getting deleted, we have, as far as I can tell, we have auto moderation bots, and they can sometimes be a bit kind of trigger happy in deleting messages. Nobody, as far as I know, deleted that message. I wouldn't. We haven't told our moderation team to delete messages unless they explicitly violate our rules, like homophobia, racism, things like that. So it's unfortunately probably just triggered something in the auto moderation bot, and he was able to post the message and bring it to our attention in another chat just fine, and we responded to him kind of once we saw it.
Awesome. You guys are great. Thanks for answering my questions. I'll drop off as listener now, and if I have anything else, I'll raise my hand.
Excellent. Thank you for the question. What's up, Salt?
Hey, Pi, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Today was stressful but exciting.
Yeah, no, I know, and I think everybody's still a little tense on it, but we're happy you're here and grateful for your contribution. Yeah, I was curious. Speaking on moderation, how do you guys moderate token pairs? And do you guys, as a team, decide what actually gets listed on the main page and whatnot?
Yeah, no. So it is like we've been saying, it's a permissionless protocol. So anybody can create a pair. Our order page lists all tokens. I think it sorts by TVL, and it also has a preference for tokens that have their metadata registered. But other than that, we don't do any kind of filtering. Given the regulatory environment, we might. That's not something that we can necessarily commit to forever. But at the current time, there's no kind of additional filtering or anything like that. Matt, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, just a clarification. So the TVL will be based on ADA. At some point, we'll look at more exotics. So if you have a non-ADA pair where both tokens are non-ADA, we'll look at calculating the price of that through different routes. But for now, the TVL for ordering purposes is based solely on the amount of ADA.
Got it. But if something, I don't know, like say something offensive were to pop up on the list, would you guys have any range on being able to manage that?
From the protocol
we
side,
wouldn't want to. Yeah, I think what Pi was going to say is from the protocol, you can do whatever you want. It's permissionless. We have no way of stopping that. From the web interface, we try very hard to take a hands-off approach. If it's truly, truly offensive, really out of the bounds offensive, then we'll probably have to have a discussion. But even then, I still would vote not to. It would have to be pretty darn offensive.
Yeah, I was just curious on like what control you guys, obviously, like I understand the nature of permissionless contracts and all that. I was just curious what control you guys have over the interface and what pulls in and all that. And speaking of interface, beautiful interface. Do we have a future in which we'll be able to sort and organize by volume and other metrics?
Very soon.
Sweet. See some more hands.
Oops, I think Pi got disconnected.
I think we might have lost our moderators. Matt, your co-host. Can you sign up Ednada to speak next?
Sure, as long as you walk me through, because I am a newbie when it comes to using this tool.
Well, Ed, you might be able to just unmute your mic. Let's see. Can you?
Yeah, I can
there
talk.
You go. Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
No worries. Well, congratulations, everybody. I had a couple questions. Usually when there's a surge, especially for something like this, there's kind of a risk for maybe higher than normal levels of impermanent loss, especially for people who are new to DEXs. So I'd be curious if you could speak to that, and also, which of course will be lessened as time goes on and things smooth out, but also You know, Cardano has a lot of newer people to the cryptocurrency space, and DEXs can be a little intimidating. And at first, things are a little bit wild, right? As you get that initial surge of traffic. So I'm just wondering, um, do you advise people who are a little bit newer to maybe take a wait and see approach before diving in?
So I'll go ahead and take that. You had a number of questions there, so thanks, Ed, for coming on. I'm going to answer them, and maybe not necessarily in the order you asked them. In terms of advice for newbies, while we've tried to make the system as easy as possible, we've tried also not to provide advice per se, just explanations on how the system works. And I think that's probably the path we'll follow moving forward. In terms of handling the impermanent loss at the onset, we've tried to do a few things to handle that. The first is by opening up the pools earlier and allowing deposits to happen. The additional liquidity would help to stabilize the prices so that they wouldn't gyrate as much, because the size of the pools would be larger relative to the size of the orders. How much that's helped, it's hard to say. The second is, even though we weren't able to do the taste test in time for this launch, we still plan on launching the taste test at some point in the future, because we believe it's going to be a really strong instrument for other teams to be able to take advantage of. So the idea that instead of having to have the price gyrate wildly, the community can, over time, vote on what it believes the correct price to be prior to the pool opening up.
Great.
I think third
Go
question,
ahead.
but I think I've heard.
I got rug pulled like a lot of people on this. There's a lot of people on the chat. I know a lot of people want to ask a question, so I'll just follow up with one more like technical question. IO obviously announced their first of many upgrades starting, I believe, on January 25th, and I was just wondering, as kind of the first large volume DEX on Cardano, what positive effects you expect to see from that update on the exchange. Thanks.
We expect to see really amazing effects. We have modeled our protocol under different protocol parameters. We have entire spreadsheets, so we understand what will happen if different parameters are modified. Once the change happens on the 25th, we expect greater than a 2x throughput increase from strictly the memory bump by itself. As additional protocol parameters become available, we expect very significant increases to throughput without having to change the protocol. And there are a few changes that are coming later this year that we are very, very excited about. Probably the biggest of which is something called script references. Currently, when we submit a transaction to the blockchain, a scoop transaction, we have to include the entire contract with the transaction. And that's really what takes up the bulk of the space right now. The vast majority of it is just the smart contract. Once script references are released, we'll no longer have to bring that up and include that with every transaction. So the amount of size each one of our transactions will take up will decrease just dramatically. So we expect that to be a huge jump. And again, all these happen without us ever having to deploy a new version of the protocol. These are just things we'll get for free as the blockchain improves.
Can you remind the community when we should roughly expect that update, assuming no delays, just so everyone can look forward to that?
I really can't speak on behalf of IOG. I've just been looking at what their guideposts are. So, I personally am expecting maybe sometime Q2, Q3, maybe even as late as Q4. It's very hard to say, and I don't want to speak for their timeline. In terms of more immediate changes, our hope is that in addition to the protocol bump on the 25th, Cardano supports a technology called a hard fork combinator, which means every epoch they can adjust the protocol parameters in different ways. And that means as they feel comfortable with the amount of throughput that the blockchain is supporting, they can upgrade these parameters every epoch. So my hope is that we see changes in the very near future. But again, I can't speak for IOG.
Of course. Thanks for taking my questions.
Thanks, Ed. Clip Data, I think you were next. I know we had a couple other hands raised, but why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. my screen is glitched, but I can hear you well. So I just don't see your avatars. So my question is, couldn't this thing with the transaction that was put before the start be avoided by changing the format of how the transaction is sent to smart contract from testnet to mainnet? That's the first question, and the second question will be about trading, but it will be after you answer the first question.
Sure. So with regard to the first one, there really is no way to change that sort of parameter. You have to realize that the path for us to get the smart contract onto the mainnet involved an extreme amount of code review, not only from people inside, but also our external auditor, RV. And so there's a specific commit hash that is approved by the auditor, and that's the commit hash that's on the blockchain. So for us to change the protocol in any manner from what they reviewed basically puts the protocol at risk. So we haven't been able to, and we haven't made changes since that point. So the ability to put things like changing the format of the datum is really beyond something we can do.
Okay, I understand, but for me, the big good, it limits the botting, botting activity. So it's more people versus people, unlike on regular sexes. And this thing with this person, it really is sad. Okay, but the second question is, I made an order the minute the DEX started, and the transaction went through. After I clicked swap, it went through 14 minutes later. And in my open orders, I can see exchange price that is ADA/null. So basically,
Can you all hear him, or is it just me?
I lost the connection for a second too. Eclipse, why don't we? Oh yeah, we definitely just lost him. We'll let him come back on. Leaf Jerky, you were next on the list, I think. If you want to unmute.
Actually, it was Fractal. If he wants to go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Fractal.
Yeah, thank you for letting me up on stage. And I'm the one who posted that infamous message, which is now traveling across the Twitter. So before addressing that, I wanted to congratulate first SundaeSwap with successful launch, and I want to say that I'm impressed by a lot of things, like the way the team handles communication, how like having 100,000 people in Discord, it is very easy to find information and to get an answer. And not just get an answer, but very clear and concise answer, which is easy to understand. And like the other thing is, I wanted to say that the UI is just beyond my expectation. That is absolutely awesome. Now, regarding my message, I regret that I said that it was censored. So I said that because it wasn't deleted immediately, and there were no links. So I noticed that usually messages with links are deleted automatically. But it seemed to me that this message didn't have any, anything that would trigger the automated moderation, right? And it wasn't triggered like instantly, but it had wallet address in this message. So I think maybe it was triggered with some delay on wallet address because there are scams, and it's maybe not safe to post wallet addresses. Now, I would say that this front-running thing is, I think it's quite insignificant in the sense that like it's just 10 million SundaeSwap tokens, and in the end of the month there will be released how many, like 125 million tokens, so it's pretty insignificant. But I also want to say that so SundaeSwap has as I said like very, very high standards, and which I'm impressed about, like, and we are talking about other teams, while other teams some other teams go even as far as faking their demo launch. But this front running stuff, I think I'm just wondering, because to me it seemed that this is the first thing that comes to mind, right? So there is a testnet, the smart contract on testnet, right? The interface is known, like how to interact with this smart contract, right? And you only need to know the policy ID of Sunday token. And I feel maybe like I don't understand something, but to me it seems that it's pretty easy to replicate this on the mainnet. And to me, like the first thought I had that maybe they implemented, maybe they added a check in the Scooper software that if transaction went in before the launch, if the transaction lies on the blockchain before the slot when the DEX launches, then it should be ignored for some time. So what? So basically, I think you understand the question.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
and
you.
Fractal, thank you again for all those comments. The team definitely appreciates that. I know that they put a lot of hard work in.
And we're definitely checking the moderation bots. Leaf jerky?
Well, let me go ahead and answer that question.
Oh, yeah,
in terms of the, how much can be done, as we've said before, we try to take a very hands-off approach in terms of how much moderation we're doing. So there are many versions of the Scooper software that's in the Scooper's hands, and unfortunately, the exact timing of the launch, is not something that we could have created more than a day or two ago, because we had a number of things that were still coming together. So being able to create a custom piece of software at late notice to distribute to the scoopers, it's something maybe we could have done, but it doesn't stop anyone. And if there was even one scooper that was running the older version of the software, it would have been all for naught. And so for the amount of energy that it would have taken to do something that would potentially not even have solved the issue, we opted not to do that, especially since it's all, there were so many things to deal with. We didn't believe, maybe to our naivete, that someone would have constructed a transaction by hand ahead of time, and now we know.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Fractal. Leaf jerky, thank you.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey there.
First, I wanted to preface this by saying that I'm not a very technical person in nature, at least not software, so forgive me ahead of time. Also, congrats on the successful launch. I think, at some point you just have to do it. I think it from what I've seen on my end, everything was pretty cool. I do wanted to kind of, I have a lot of people in my circle and people that I know that have been waiting for this. So I know some of them are in the same situation. A lot of us have submitted transactions in their own chain. And a question that I've seen popping up a lot, and I guess just maybe if you can explain this in layman's terms, is I guess like how if you submitted your order, if it went through at 4 o'clock Central Standard Zone, I guess like 15 minutes after launch. If it was submitted on chain, will it come back at the price that you submitted it at, or does it come back saying no good, something like that?
Sure. So SundaeSwap is a combination of an AMM and an order book, meaning that every order that you place has its own transaction that's part of. When you place an order on the chain, the Scooper software is designed to process the order in the order that it was received. The big challenge is even entering into the launch, the blockchain was running at 95% capacity for extended periods, and I think some of that has come down. I think some of the teams that were running that have turned off their system, so we definitely appreciate that. But needless to say, the blockchain is still running at really heavy capacity. The number of orders people are placing was very significant. I think Blockfrost had tweeted that they had in their own queues, not even things on the blockchain, they had 7,000 orders in their own queues that would have taken hours just to put those orders onto the blockchain. They're probably still going through now. And so even though it seems like 15 minutes, it probably would take a while. And the rate that the blockchain is currently processing the transactions is pretty slow. So it's going to be a while to get to, unfortunately. So in terms of what price you're going to get, you had there was an option to specify the price. If not, there is a specific number, and I think it defaults to. Uh, I don't want to tell you wrong. I want to guess though. It's around like 1.25%. So whatever price you saw, it will try to deliver a price within that. Think of it like a limit order in a traditional market. And if it's not within that price, your order will sit on the chain until your order is filled at the price you've asked for. So you would never get an order outside the range that you've asked. However, the price may move outside the range that you've asked, in which case your order will just sit there on the chain.
I see. Kind of. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, and everybody else, I think they asked kind of what I was looking at asking. So I'm just going to go ahead and step down and let somebody else ask.
All right.
Thank you, Leaf Turkey.
Thank you, guys.
Roberto Havana, if I did that right.
Not right, but okay.
Roberto Havana, I don't know.
Cavalli. Hi,
Oh,
guys.
okay.
You did great job with the lunch. I have few questions for you. One
Sure.
is, okay, you listen me?
Yep.
Okay. First question is, I few hours ago I buy a collateral on NAMI wallet, and now my collateral is gone. I don't know why. And second question is, why on Sunday app I can swap my ADA for Sunday token? Thank you.
Sure. So unfortunately for the first one, I don't know if I have much of an answer for you on the collateral. I'm not, while we've integrated with NAMI Wallet, I don't know all the details of it. So that might be something for the NAMI team. In terms of the swap for Sunday, the number of orders on the Sunday pool is pretty deep. So if you've placed an order, odds are it's sitting there, and you'll see it in your order history, and it will just take a while to get to. As these protocol improvements happen, the speed at which it'll go through will increase, and our expectation is it'll be much like the testnet, where the testnet was very congested at launch, but as sort of that initial rush kind of passed through, then it was swapping orders pretty darn quickly. Chaotic.
Hey there. Hope everyone's doing good. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you fine.
Awesome. First, I've got a question relating to what Leaf Turkey was asking about orders, and then I've got a question about the website. The first question is there a way for the end user to tell whether their order is sitting on chain waiting for the price to come within their range, or if the order is simply waiting to be filled because it hasn't, it's just sitting there waiting to be filled, but not because of the price?
I think we need to make them more obvious to users. So currently, if you are a more technical user, you could figure it out based on the values that are on the chain. But we do need to make it more prominent for people.
Got it. Thank you. The second question is, in terms of the protocol, say the developers, not that it would happen, were to stop supporting the website, is the protocol like decentralized in a way that someone else could take up the support of the website and host it and connect it to the whatever the smart contracts are happening? Because I'm not too knowledgeable on how smart contracts work in general.
Sure. As we've seen from the kerfuffle earlier on, you don't even need our website to submit orders, as was evidenced by, one of the first orders being placed by someone through their own tooling. Could somebody else create the website? I don't see why not. Would it look the same? I mean, maybe not. It's really up to the developers that they chose to create the website. All the transactions are on the blockchain. The scoopers run independently of us. So, theoretically, they could run without us. We're probably at this bootstrap stage where there are maybe an element or two that would be difficult to run without us. I think the specific one I think of is governance. Given the limitations of the blockchain today, to run the governance contract is probably a little too big for what can be supported, but it'll be supportable. So, probably in a few months, somebody else could pick up the mantle if they wanted to.
Awesome. Thank you for the answer, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chaotic. Giancarlo?
Hi guys, good evening, and congratulations on the launch. I was there at the beginning, and everything went pretty well. So it's glad to see the hard work pays off. And just on the yield farming, so for people that like myself who provided liquidity, when should we expect to see the Sunday rewards kicking in? And I think was said before that we should have like yield farming in a few days or weeks, because you guys were testing, and that would be updated.
Just with launch happening today and the number of pieces that we're moving, we opted not to have that there is some number of Sunday tokens available that will be distributed across the yield farmers in proportion to the amount that they've staked. The way the contract is set up is it will be from the moment you start yield farming.
And Matt, in terms of time,
it's a large enough improvement that trying to make that change along with keeping the mainnet stable was just more than we wanted.
Well,
You know,
it's a
you know,
balancing act, but
yeah, it's
Jean Carlos. Art?
Hey, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your launch. This was probably like one of the most anticipated decentralized exchange launches in crypto history, I would guess. And I have a question that I'm sure a lot of people are looking for the answer because I've seen on the Discord. Basically, I haven't got any LP tokens back. So my question is it because of the congestion? Like, when will I see the tokens come to me?
And you're saying your order completed, or your order is still on chain?
It's still on chain, it says.
Okay. And if you look at your orders tab, is it on the top side or is it on the bottom side where it says? It's
on the top side.
Gotcha. So essentially, you're in a pretty long line of people looking to provide liquidity. So the liquidity has not yet actually hit the pool. So as soon as it does hit the pool, you'll receive the LP tokens, and your order will move from the top over to the bottom section, and that's how you'll know.
Okay, and I just have one more question. This one person actually asked you about the swap earlier, Ada and Sunday. Basically, for the Ada Sunday swap, right? I placed the order as soon as it was live, and the price back then was 0.1, right? 0.11. And my order is the same thing, as it's an open order, but right now the price is 0.3. So my question is, am I gonna get it at market price when it's less congested, is my question.
No. So the way that orders work within the system is that every time you place an order, there is a range that your order will accept. And if you click on the little cog, you can kind of select the range that you're comfortable with. What we don't want to do is have someone submit. Instead, it behaves like a limit order on a traditional exchange. But until that point, I'm just going to hang out. And so because the price has moved significantly, my guess is that the range that was acceptable to your order is now beyond the range. However, as some or the price is outside the acceptable range, so your order will just sit there.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. And one last thing I want to say, Coco Loco is not a rug pull. We're going to
you have to unmute yourself if you want to speak. Otherwise, those folks who have questions, please raise your hands. We are happy to answer them. I've got the group here for a little while longer.
Hey.
How about CNFT?
Waiting here for a while. I have a question. Earlier, I submitted a transaction through my Nami wallet for ADA for Sunday.
So we know we've seen a lot of problems with wallets being congested and orders not being processed, where so many things flooding on. Let's find the transaction. If you can send that transaction ID to us, we're happy to dig into it.
Awesome. I don't see anything. So I'm thinking it probably just either failed or it's probably sitting on. Okay, so it's not on the chain then.
Yeah, probably not. I would look in your wallet to see if the funds have moved. If the funds haven't moved, then it's also another good clue that didn't happen.
Cool. And that's what happened. I think my funds are all there, and I'll probably just go through and submit another order. And this kind of ties into the exchange that I made earlier. I heard Pi talking about basically you'd be able to do a one-sided trade. For example, I would put in
The feature is already part of the protocol, and so if somebody were to construct the transaction, you could submit it. But we haven't, with all the other things going on, we deprioritized building the web interface for that. But probably not, probably measured in weeks, not months.
Okay. Doing this space, and I look forward to seeing how everything develops within the next couple of days and weeks.
Well, thank you.
Cardano NFT nurse icon.
Gentleman about two speakers ago was asking about yield farming. Still learning all the staking and all the terms and stuff like that. But if I'm correct, is the yield farming that is different than the initial ISO, correct? And I think maybe he was asking about, how you guys have the
Those are two. Staking has just begun on the ISO, where you can choose this epoch, your stake pool. I think there's a calendar that we've posted on our site in terms of when the yield farming rewards and getting yield off those. That is a separate on-chain smart contract. So those are two ways of doing it.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I understood. And then as far as the ISO, when did we start accumulating the points? 3 days ago, or I started, staking like a week ago.
So try to do is simplify it. And on the calendar, there should
Oh, okay, so it's not like.
Just to be.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just to be clear. So, weeks ago, people were starting to delegate their ADA to the stake pools that are participating in the ISO, but they have not yet begun earning any rewards until today, actually. So today is the start of the epoch. At the end of this epoch, which is the 25th time, if I'm not mistaken, you still have the rest of this epoch to put your to delegate to one of the participating ISOs and participate in Thank you.
Thanks.
Matt, anything to add there? Otherwise, we'll throw it to David. David King.
Hi,
Hey
David.
guys. Hey, how are you? Good evening here. Congratulations again on your successful launch. Highly anticipated. Very, very good. Love the UI. Yeah, so when we place an order to swap from ADA to, let's say, SundaeSwap, and we obviously saw the slippage and the range. Now that my order is on chain, so when it says, hey, I have a swap order on chain, is there any way or is there any plan on the interface to uh, like remind us of what that slippage was? So for example, when I placed the order, I think it was around like 0.15 ADA or zero point 0.1 ADA, but I'm sure it's probably out of that slippage range now. So more than likely my order won't be fulfilled. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out here who have orders, but they're not tracking that their order may not be fulfilled because they're not aware of that kind of slippage limit order type thing. So is there a way to add that on the interface?
It's clear. I don't think it came up as much in the test net, but it's clear that being able to see what your limit order and limit price is from the interface is going to be very important.
Yeah, awesome. And I do actually love this. Is do you guys have any plans, or do you know when broader market data will go out to some of the broader types of tools? CoinGecko will be tracking some of the market data for SundaeSwap.
I don't have an exact date. I know that it is top of our list to do, and when.
Awesome, thank you. That would be very, very exciting to see SundaeSwap data on CoinMarketCap. Thank you again. Congratulations, guys. I'm definitely looking forward to using this protocol more often.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David. Yeah, the listing requirements for the different exchanges, they're gonna vary. So I think they'll be trickling out as they go. Doc, we've got you next.
Hi, congrats again. I know you're very transparent with what you do. We really appreciate that. And we also know that not just your reputation, Cardano's reputation, it matters. And that's why you're very transparent. Kind of similar question. I'll be fast and quick. So I have something on order. It says on-chain open order, and I have a hash on the Cardano scan. So do you think I'm guaranteed to get the SundaeSwap, or there's a chance that I won't get any SundaeSwap? Because during this time, my ADA is locked and I can't put in any more orders. That's it.
So I don't know what the order is that you placed, but I do know that the price of Sunday has actually moved quite a bit today. So there order.
Even if it's if it says on-chain open orders and you see the transaction.
And I'm just going to put an order in there and let it sit. And if it gets hit, huzzah. And if not, then it just sits. And
Thank you. Rakindo.
Hey guys, congratulations on the launch.